Hi everyone, I'm Brad Parks and welcome to Docklow Pools for the final of the On The Fly Knockout Cup final. So today it's a 2-day event. So the first day today we're on Mickey Mouse Lake and tomorrow we move on to Match Lake. And we've got our two finalists, Fowles and Jamie Francis, two brilliant anglers who have made it all the way through about 5 rounds at different venues, so everything from canals to reservoirs to commercial, so a really varied sort of range of fishing, and the guys have done brilliant to get to this far. So it should be a really good final. Jake has drawn peg 8 today on Mickey Mouse, which I think on paper was the slightly favoured one, simply because it plums up a bit nicer, I think. And Jamie's on peg 7, which he seems happy with, to be fair. Seen him plumbing up and there's plenty of fish crashing around. A lovely day for it today with a bit of wind, a bit of ripple on the water because it's very clear, so the fish are probably going to be a bit spooky with the sunlight, so a bit of ripple should help the fishing. So it should be a really great event, absolutely lovely venue, Docklow, fantastic facilities, so it should be a really nice 2 days.
Hello, my name's Jamie Francis. I'm from Nottingham, fish for Barnstone ASD. We fish a variety of venues. I've managed to qualify for this competition. I'm really excited to fish this place, it looks lovely. So we entered the On The Fly TV Knockout Cup, started at Tunnel Barn, did alright there, won my section, and I think we went to Aaron Canal, which was a bit alien to me. Did okay there, I won my section. Then bit of a slip up at Manor Farm, which was a big open water reservoir. I was in a bit of a bay, so I didn't do too great, but I managed to scrape through. And to Lake John, I won that match there, so it brings me here. I've drawn peg 7, it's only about 2 feet deep and there's loads of lilies under the water that you can't see, so it's a bit hard to plumb up anywhere. Got to struggle to find a hole somewhere and hope for the best. Basically going to go for everything that swims. I'm going to try catch short on maggot, and then I'm going to try and catch some long on waggler, and hopefully get some hippos down the edge later on. So to win this competition would be great, because it's based on the old Drennan Knockout Cup, which we all know as match anglers. It was always here. It's great to fish here. It'd be great to win the first one for On The Fly TV.
Hi, I'm Jake Fowles, one of the finalists in the On The Fly TV knockout final. So we're here at Docklow. My route to the final, well, this competition in its own, when I was with the magazines, we used to run the Drennan Knockout Cup. I used to love it. I used to love following it around all the diverse venues. You're going on canals, rivers, reservoirs, commercial fisheries. It's the sort of fishing I love to do, like switching things up, lots of different types of venues. So my route here, there was a few sort of slips, but the way that it ran, it meant that I got here after a few rounds on a few different venues. So Docklow Pools today. I've been down a couple of times, had a look at the pegs, fished Match Lake, and I've also had a little fish on Mickey Mouse. Those of you who followed the Drennan Knockout Cup in the past will know about this lake. Peg 8 is the famous one that you see. It's the one that you probably looked on YouTube and found lots of videos about. It's the one that everyone wants to fish. And peg 7, it's the one where they say a lot of carp live. For me, it's not as straightforward as peg 8 because there are lots of lilies under the surface. So for me, I wanted to draw peg 8, and luckily I've done that today. I'm not sure what to expect. I think it's going to be a lot of catching lots of silverfish, eyed, maybe some chub, some roach. But they have stocked it with a lot of stocky carp as well. Whether they're in this peg, they weren't in the festival that ran a couple of weeks ago, but they move around. There's only 2 of us fishing this lake today, so I'm expecting those fish to at least show at some point. People say that in peg 7, because there is that underwater cover, they're more likely to show in there, but I'm not sure how many you'll get out because there are lots of snags. Not everything that you can see. There's obviously the famous stumps in this peg as well. But there's those snags underwater. So for me, peg 8, I'm really happy about that. It'll be a simple day, hopefully just shipping a fish every chuck. Hopefully I take a lead into the second day, but you never know. But as long as you're in the race going into that second day, I'll be pretty happy.
guys, you're joining me at about the halfway mark now, about 2.5 hours in. Lots of fish being caught, so it's been quite a good start, in particular for Jake, who started off quite well. Jake started off short and then he's gone long, catching a few nice skimmers. Then he's come shallow and he's catching some lovely eyed, so he's had a very good start. I reckon around the 25 pound mark, but it's hard to say because having skimmers, eyed, chub even, so a really lovely bag. Jamie's struggling slightly. He's had a slow start, but then he hooked 2 big fish, so he's had a tench, about £4 on a short line, fishing worm and caster. So he got that one out, but then caught I think a small carp not long after that. So a really nice fish. So I reckon around the, getting on for £10 now. So a little bit behind, but he has also lost at least 3 quite big fish now. All took him into the snag. So I think if he'd got them in, it would be pretty much neck and neck. So I think it's going to be quite a close match. Dropping a little bit cold now, so I think that shallow line for Jake's probably going to start slowing up, and that wind, which has been giving him a lovely ripple, has started to go calm. So the water's gone flat calm. With it being so clear, the fish just seem to be spooking off his pole, so it will like clatter 2 or 3 in a row, and then they're just spooking off. Jamie's been fishing the waggler, having to cast that right into the lion's den, hence why he's lost a couple unfortunately, but I think if he susses that out, if he catches a few on that line, he'll soon catch him up. So all to play for. Jake in the lead at the minute, but it could be going to be a close match I think come the end. Still plenty of time to go. Hi guys, welcome back to day 2 of the On The Fly Knockout Cup final. I'm Brad Parks and here today I'm joined by a special guest, previous winner and multi-finalist, Ian Didcott.
Hey,
good to have you with us, mate.
Nice to be here, mate.
And today we're on Match Lake. So yesterday we were on Mickey Mouse. Quite a dramatic match in the end. And Jake weighed in £57, Jamie 17. So I think about a £40 lead going into today. But obviously this lake's very different, isn't it? Much bigger weights potentially, so there's all to play for still, I think.
Yeah, it's potentially a lot of a lot of bigger fish in here, like big F1s, big carp and stuff like that. But you know, they can be moody. The weather conditions aren't exactly ideal. It's been raining all night long, and it's only just finished raining, so that could have a adverse effect. The water's a lot more coloured than I remember it, but there's a few fish moving about, and it should be an interesting day because they've both drawn, you know, the pegs that they probably wanted.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, obviously Jamie's on 24, where he's got a bit of an easier access to his peg and stuff like that after yesterday. So
yeah, unfortunately Jamie had a bit of a fall yesterday just before the match, so he's done brilliantly just to fish, to be honest. He's soldiered on with he's pulled all the ligaments in his ankle, so for those who've done that knows how painful it is. Probably worse than a break, isn't it?
Yeah, I missed yesterday, but obviously I come last night and Jamie wasn't here. He was still at hospital getting sorted out and that, so he's been done really well to be here just to actually even get to fish. So you know, I think kudos to him.
Yeah, and although I think peg 8 perhaps was the favoured one, it's worked out well because he can park behind his peg today. So
exactly. I mean, if he'd have had to walk his gear to peg 8, you know, he would have probably been a little bit later packing up, but he's obviously got up and going at the moment, so he's doing all right.
And target weights today, what do you reckon?
I mean, it could be 30-40 pound, it could be 120 pound.
Yeah.
You know, there is some big old wise ones in here, and if they turn up in someone's edge,
it's all to play for, isn't it?
It could be game on.
Because they had a match on here yesterday and it fished quite hard. Looking at the results, I think 30 to 40 pound was a good weight yesterday, but we're expecting a bit more than that today. Obviously, it's just the two of them on it, and
I mean, like, it'll be down to a lot of the way that the lads are fishing as well, and you know, they're a little bit more adverse of catching a few different fish other than just sat there waiting for a carp. I mean, you could sit here and catch nothing for a couple of hours. Last hour you can rock up and catch 3 carp down here to have your 30-40 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, there's a lot more fish to be caught besides that.
And I think that's where Jake did well yesterday. Just to recap on yesterday, Jake caught mostly shallow, nice eye, chub on that short line, but then fish pellets long and down the edge as well. So he'd fished quite a nice varied match, didn't he?
I mean,
some good fish.
The thing is, on that lake over there, you know, one peg's very good, one peg's not so good. But like I spoke to Jake in the week and said to him, if he drew the peg that he didn't really want, it was just all damage limitation. You know, and we discussed the target weight and everything like that, and he went and did what he wanted to do. So, you know, it's
good day.
But yeah, it'll be an interesting match. I mean, it'll probably be down to, you know, I think the first hour will be important. You know, they've both got a chuck to an island on a method feeder and stuff like that. So, you know, when you fish to an island, not everybody gets a pool straight away. So, you know, one person can go, oh, I've caught one, and the other one's sat there not catching. But they have got a tendency to move on here. They do move about, but you know, if you can have an arrival of some of them like bigger F1s fishing long on pellets or maggots or something like that, you know, it
doesn't take long to build a weight, does it?
They don't take long. They're big fish.
Yeah. So even though Jake's got £40 lead, it could be half an hour's fishing, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, you know, with a little bit of luck, Jamie could drop in on method, have 2 bites and half his lead in the first 15 minutes, which will make it interesting. Yeah. But on the flip side of things, Jake could have 2 fish and double his lead, or not double his lead, but you know, half again his lead. So, you know, that there is swings and roundabouts in this match fishing at the end of the day. So
anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly that. But it'll be an interesting day, and hopefully, both of them will catch a lot of fish.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully, this rain holds off as well.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Hi guys, you're joining me for the halfway point now of the match of the second day of the On The Fly Knockout Cup final. Got Jamie just behind me, might be able to see him in shot, and the tide's turned slightly. Jake's still catching well, but Jamie's had some really big fish down the edge. Jamie's had one, must be getting on for 12-13 pound about an hour ago now, and he's had some nice fish after that as well, so I think the tide's going to be turning. Jake's still popping a few in the net, he's still catching eyed shallow on that short line, and it looks like he's just gone back out on the feeder as well. He's catching some lovely little carp, little stockies, about £1.50 a piece, and I think if he keeps popping them in, it's going to be hard to beat because he's still got about a £40 advantage. We think Jamie might have clawed back £10, which Jake had sort of made up at the start of the match today, but it's going to be very, very close going into the end of the match now. If Jamie can keep catching those fish down that edge, it's going to be an exciting finish to the match.
So I've been lucky enough to win the first On The Flyer TV Knockout Cup here at the brilliant Docklow Pools. So day one was on the Mickey Mouse pool. I drew the peg that I wanted, peg 8. Peg 7 would have been a totally different story. I felt like on the first day you needed peg 8 to get a lead. Whether Jamie would have fished the match in the same way I did, fishing for silvers, just basically with the aim to ship a fish every single chuck, I don't know. So we don't know what the story would have been if he'd have drawn that peg, but I felt confident on that peg, and I came into the second day with a healthy £40 lead. On day 2, I've drawn peg 8. Now, match lake here, I've practiced on both pegs, and I wasn't too sure which one would be better. The locals and the people that stay here regular do say that peg 8, which is the one that I drew today, is the better peg. For me, I felt like peg 24 may be better, simply because the sun's on it most of the day, it feels warmer, and the edges are rock hard. So how my match has gone, I came with a plan. I wanted to fish a method feeder over to the island. I knew that you'd catch stocky carp, some F1s, and maybe the odd bonus carp. That's not been the case today. I've actually just had some F1s and some stocky carp. It's been good, but I always felt like you needed a better stamp of fish. The big F1s in here, up to sort of £5, I've probably had them today. After about an hour, Jamie's gone down the edge and had a double figure fish, and even though I had that lead of £40, because the size of that fish, I was thinking he only needs another 3 or 4 of them, and he's actually made up that margin. He soldiered on after his injury yesterday as well, so fair play to him. But that middle of the match, when it went a little bit slow for me, I just sort of kept putting fish in the net, and I actually felt like there was only 1 point during today that he was actually beating me on today's match. So I already had that £40 margin, plus then I felt like I was winning for most of the match today. And basically the plan was, if he ever went in the lead today, just catch some eyed on a short pole line and just keep putting those fish in the net. I've tried the margins, it wasn't great. There was a lot of leaves on this bank of match pool. So I sort of just chopped and changed, caught on the method feeder, caught short, and luckily going into the last 2 hours where I was throwing maggots for ride, I've actually started catching some F1s, and we knew that may be the case, but I felt like I'd catch them on the deck, but I've actually caught them shallow, and I've had a brilliant last 2 hours. I think I've had £70 maybe in the last 2 hours, and that going with the £50 that I caught in the first 3, mainly on the method feeder, meant that I've had £120 odd today. Which was enough to win fairly comfortably overall. But fair play to Jamie, he's put in a great performance, especially today. Yesterday, whether his head was in it after a fall and hurting his ankle, I don't know. But either way, it's been a great competition. I'm definitely going to be back next year to defend my title. Hopefully this competition will just keep getting bigger and better. One that everybody should definitely get involved in.